Hi, family, and welcome to Crowned Real Talk 101. I am Royalty, and right now I want to just discuss a topic in regards to us being entrepreneurs versus us being employees. This is something that I've always felt very strongly about, for as long as I can remember. I remember, when I was younger, I used to love money. I mean, from as far back as I can remember, I always liked to create businesses. When I was younger, around 9 or 10, I remember in another video I was talking about how I used to go from door to door. And I would have my little wagon with me. I would have my little soaps in the bucket and little towels and things like that. And I would go from door to door and ask people if I could wash their cars. My mom had us in a pretty nice, ritzy area, that was safe. And so we were allowed to, go to certain neighbors' house. But I would go to these neighbors that I was allowed to go to, and sometimes the ones I wasn't allowed to go to, just trying to get that paper, trying to get that money. I would go to, these people, and I would ask them if I could either wash their cars, can I, rake up your leaves, mow your lawn, just different things. And, these people used to be so impressed with me. And now that I think of it as an adult, I remember one guy, the father of one of my friends, he asked me, did I have... He started asking me, did I have certain tools, because if you're going to clean windows, you need to have, certain things. And so all I had was soap and water. That was all I had. And I remember looking at my bucket, and he gave me a squeegee, a squeegee to wash windows with. And it made me feel so empowered, just that small, gesture from this man's, a childhood friend of mine's father, giving me this squeegee. It made me feel so empowered, like, wow, he believes in me, or, it just gave me, I felt so full. And then when I would get the money and be able to put it in my pocket and, go to the ice cream man and, buy whatever I wanted to buy now, later, sunflower seeds, I felt, like a boss, like a little boss. And so, but I've always been that way. And I remember getting my first job. My first job was working with my mother. She used to have me work in her daycare. My mom has always been an entrepreneur, for as long as I can remember. She did nursing at one point in time, but then she, got it in her head that she needed her own, and that was mostly so that she can stay home with her children. And so I believe her first business that she created was daycare, and I worked there. I worked in her daycare, and then I worked in her clothing store, which was a children's clothing store, and it was called Children's Carnival of Fashion. I remember that, and I remember having a job there. She was inside of Market Square Mall in Richmond, and I remember just feeling like we were just like bosses, like, this is my mom's business, and I used to always be able to tell people, that my mom had her own business, when they would ask questions about my mom. But for the most part, I'm wondering, I'm sitting here wondering, like, why does it sound like somebody's mowing grass right outside my house? And it's because the maintenance men are here to do our front and backyard. They come and they do the front and backyard. And speaking of entrepreneurs, this is a family-owned business. There's a family of Mexicans that come to me and my husband's home, and they, do very good job on our backyard. They do a very good job. I mean, amazing on our back and front yard. And so I apologize for that, because I'm just like, I got a little irritated for a minute, like, who is making this noise so close to our home? Because usually they come earlier, and they usually come around noon, but they're here at 6 o'clock today. It's like 6 o'clock in the evening. So yeah, that threw me off a little bit. But yeah, but it was perfect. Just speaking on entrepreneurs, these people are providing for their families. But as I was saying, I remember as I was growing that I used to really feel really good about the fact that my mom owned her own businesses. And I remember when I first got my So working with my mother was my first job. And then I got into doing, and if you see me wave at somebody in a minute, it's because he's going to come through our back gate and come through our backyard. And our curtain is open, so I'm just going to be able to wave at him. I'm going to wave at them and, let them go ahead about their work. So you see me waving at somebody, I'm waving at the maintenance men that do our landscaping. But definitely, I felt a certain pride and and respect for those who had their own businesses. And so when I remember moving on in my life and growing, and I got other jobs. I remember I used to work 2 jobs at one time. I used to work at Kentucky Fried Chicken and Church's Chicken, and what I do remember is I loved those checks. When they would hand me that check from Church's Chicken and hand me that check from Kentucky Fried Chicken, woo! I used to couldn't wait. And Kentucky Fried Chicken paid every week. And I remember Church's Chicken paid every 2 weeks. So I had that check coming every week, and then I had my check coming every 2 weeks. And then I used to just like to shop for clothes. When you're younger, you want to shop for clothes, jewelry, go to the movies, things like that. But I always remember not having I didn't like authority. I didn't like people telling me what to do. I didn't like not being able to be creative. I had ideas that I couldn't express, and for me, that carried on throughout my life. When I would have jobs, I just always looked at the authority figure as, I could do your job and I can do mine even better than you're trying to tell me I can do it. I would have a real, bug up my butt, because, I didn't like the authority figures. I felt that they were sometimes demeaning and didn't allow me to be creative. As I got older, I started creating my own businesses. My first business was a cleaning service, I believe. Was that the first one? I think so. Because I've created multiple businesses, but my first business was a cleaning service. I had been doing nursing for years, and I loved nursing. I loved working in convalescent care. I just loved, elderly people. I loved working with the mentally and physically challenged, adults and children. And so that was my love. I just love people, and I love helping people. I love making people happy. So I created my own business around that career field. And that's when I started my business, Touch of Royalty Services. Touch of Royalty Services has been around it's been around for a while. And I think I started in 2006. I started Touch of Royalty Services in 2006, and it was a cleaning service. And what I did is I had a lot of clients that I used to go through. I used to get my clients through IHSS, which is in-home support services. And I remember, that was really good for me. But I wanted to be able to do things my way, because sometimes you were either confined to a facility or you were confined to someone's home if you were doing in-home care. And so I remember creating my own business, and I went and got my business cards. I went and put some magnets on the side of my car, advertising my business. And I actually started picking up business from that. I would be parked at a grocery store or just parked somewhere. Someone would see my car parked with my advertisement on it, and they would, call me. And, one of my first customers was this Jamaican woman. She wanted me to come in, and they were very wealthy. So I would go in and I would clean her home. I would take care of her husband. I was responsible for doing some, certain nursing things for her husband. I was responsible for doing nursing for her husband. She was able-bodied, still mobile. She was older, probably 80 something. And I remember, her really teaching me the business of cleaning. I thought I knew how to clean. I had went and got my home care and cleaning license. I went down to, this is when I was staying in Vallejo, and I went down, to get my license. And I went down and got my license, and I began doing work for her, so that, of course, it could be legal, and, I'll be, on the grid for taxes and things. But I remember her teaching me so many things that I didn't know, that she when she watched me, she said I did an amazing job in her home as far as cleaning and caring for her husband, but she just had a few pointers that she needed to give me to help me be the best that I can be at this business. And so I remember creating that cleaning service business, and I ended up having like 4 clients that I would work with, and I would do these homes, and it was just like a passion for me. I had like 4 clients at one time, that I would do. So, I would get up, and some of them, they were ambulatory. So that means they can get up, they can pretty much move around, do things for themselves. So my job was basically to come in, maybe prepare meals, clean, and but that was my first business. It was called Touch Up Royalty Services, and before it was called AP's Touch of Royalty Services, because my husband of 15 years had passed away on the morning of my birthday in 2003. And I remember, wanting to make him a part of the business. So his name was Aaron Perry. So I just named the business AP, his initials. And so it was called AP's Touch of Royalty for so long. And our sons, their names start with, it's AP, Aaron Perry, and, they both have in Angelo Perry. And so I made the business, I named the business after them. I put the initials of their name at the head of my business title. I ended up changing that years later, because, I realized that I was going through a grieving process. And by me having those initials there, it kind of made it as if my husband was still here. Mind you, we had been together 15 years and were inseparable. And then he ended up passing away the morning of my birthday due to a seizure. And so from an old head injury. And so it's really a lot, when I think about it, because I created this business after he passed, the home care and cleaning service. And so, and from there on, I was just off and running. Before, we had always talked about, opening landscaping businesses and bakeries and things like that, but it never happened, of course, because he passed away. And so I just decided I'm going to still live out those dreams. And so it started with the cleaning service. And I did that for years. And then I ended up moving to Sacramento, and I opened up and I continued on with the cleaning service. So I was still doing that, but now I was working for realtors. It wasn't so much that I was working for elderlies or cleaning houses for people who were in the houses. I was cleaning houses for realtors and getting them ready for prospective buyers. And so, and I got this job through a contractor, a guy that used to do, a lot of contracts with realtors, and they, did a lot of construction work in the homes. And so after they, get the home upgraded and, remodeled and things like that, I would come in and I would dust everything off, clean it off, shine everything, scrape the paint out the tubs, things like that. So I did that business I ran that business for like maybe 4 to 5 years. I really stayed on my cleaning service business for a good minute because it was very lucrative. It made me some good money, but I also just loved working with people. And I loved having my own money and my own time and my own creativity can be expressed in my performance. And so basically, this video is basically to talk about entrepreneurs. I just gave you a little briefing on how I got started, and how, because of my mother, having her own business, it was instilled in me as a young girl to always have your own. And so what I loved about it the most is I can have my own hours. When you're an entrepreneur, you can make your own hours. So say, for instance, I'm doing, cleaning houses. I used to go and clean those houses, but I cleaned those houses when I felt like cleaning those houses. She would tell me, okay, I need you to clean this house. I used to work for this Asian lady, and during the recession, this woman didn't lose any of her houses. She had like 82 homes. 82 homes. I haven't seen today anyone that owns 82 homes, but this woman had 82 homes, and the recession didn't affect her at all. And so, which was a blessing because she used me to clean these homes and get them ready for prospective buyers and, or people that were ready to rent. And so I definitely remember, liking the fact that I can just create my own hours. She would let me know what homes needed to be done. I would create the hours that I was going to do it. I can also hire family members to come in or friends to come in to help me do this. We'll turn on the music, got some food going, that we then brought like a little picnic basket, and we would just, clean house. We would just clean, clean, clean all day. And then by the end of the day, I would do at least 2 houses a day, depending on the size of the houses, because this lady had some pretty big homes. So the biggest one I ever did for her was a 3-story home, which was gorgeous, and I made that house shine bright like a diamond. So I had real good skills when it came to cleaning. And so I really capitalized off of that. But, just being able to have my own hours, that was just a huge blessing for me. It was just so empowering to be able to have my own hours. And especially if you have a family, you're able to put your family first. That was one thing that I really enjoyed. I was able to put my family first, and I didn't have to, compromise, things that I wanted to do. And so, it's very, beautiful to have your own business, especially if you have children. You can be at home with your children like my mother did. You can hire your children when they're ready, because that's what Asians and Mexicans and all the rest of these races, they do. They create businesses, and so when their children get out of school or need work, they have businesses for their children to work in. They don't have to go knocking on the doors of strangers, McDonald's and Taco Bell and all these different places, trying to get a job and, not getting the job, or getting, not being told that they're not enough or they're not qualified and things like that. You need to create a legacy and a empire for your family. And so that was one of the things, that I really liked, is that I was able to put my family first. And I seen how my mom was able to put her family first, just by doing what she did as far as opening the daycare, because of course the daycare was in our home, and she made the whole garage beautiful, made it into a daycare, where she was, schooling the children. I mean, it was beautiful. I remember my mom, she did an excellent job with that daycare. And so, but she was able to create her own hours. She was able to, be there with her family. So those are just 2 of the benefits of amongst many, that, can come out of, creating your own business. Not only that, you can employ others, to be able to create opportunities for other people. That is so empowering. When I opened my salon and my boutique, actually the first employee I ever had was when I opened my cleaning service. At first I used to hire friends and family, and then I found, friends and family, they'll take your business lightly, and the last straw with that was one time I had a family friend of mine, come and help me clean the house, and I gave her the upstairs level to do. And when I went upstairs after doing my level of the house, I went up there and there was just so much that wasn't done. And I didn't understand it. And she called it clean. And I was like, no, this is not clean. This is, the shower door still had soap scum on it. It was just like a hot mess. And so I ended up having to do it myself. So then I started hiring people. I started just advertising and hiring people that would, try to get a position with me. And it ended up being men that I would have come that I knew, probably from, the local area, that I knew of them, but I had never really had too many encounters with them. And when they found that I was running a business, they let me know what they could and could not do. And so, the business was good for a good while, but the fact that I could employ people, and give people an opportunity, to work. And, of course, I got my cut, I would get my cut off of the money, but then they would also get a nice cut too. So I was helping someone to be able to feed their family, and I was helping someone to be able to pay their bills, to be able to employ. I mean, when I opened my salon and my boutique, I remember employing a young girl who was really struggling, and it kind of, put up a red flag for me at first, because I didn't want her problems to interfere with my business. But But when she came in, she did such a great job, doing the styles that I needed her to do on people's hair. And it just, it was just, I felt I needed to keep her. They're knocking on my door. So I'm going to go and see what they want. I don't know why they're knocking. They're supposed to just be doing the yard, but they're knocking on the back door. Hold on just 1 second. Let me go see what they need. Be right back. Yeah? I'm okay. Oh, okay. Okay, well, whenever you're able. Okay. It's okay. You're a very busy man. It's okay. But I will let you know. No problem. Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry about that, family. I don't know if you heard. He was just telling me that we had a huge bush on the side of our house that I really liked. It had the most beautiful lavender purplish, vibrant colors. It just had these vibrant purple flowers on them. And I don't know what happened, but one day the bush was up against the wall, and it had like a gate that it was connected to in our backyard. And one day I came home and the bush had fell over. The whole gate that it was connected to had disconnected from the wall and fell over. So the maintenance man actually told us he was going to get us a new gate and nail it back up against the wall to where we can still have our beautiful little flower bush. My husband, he's just ready to get rid of it. But he was coming to tell me that he forgot the gate and that he would bring it next week. Again, I apologize. But back to the topic, not only are you able to have your own hours, you can put your family first, you can employ others, and which is a very powerful thing, as I was saying, because in our community, especially African Americans, we don't have a lot of businesses. And so when our children get older, they're knocking on the doors of, white people and Asians and, things like that to get employed. And these people are not really trying to hire our African American babies. So in my mind, I'm thinking we need to really get it together when it comes to owning businesses and building these empires for our new generation. So yeah, that's another plus in owning your own business, to be able to employ others. It is the most gratifying experience. And I think I was telling you about a young girl I was able to hire, and she had a son. She was going through a lot of changes in her life, and the money really helped her out, because I had a lot of clients coming through that, and she did a really good job on their hair. I would give her portion of the money. She was able to, do enough clients to make sure her bills were paid. So that was very empowering for me to know that, I'd help someone, that I would help someone to be able to, move forward in their journey, and it also inspired her to create her own business, down the line. She started talking about how she wants to create her own business, because one thing I can say, if anyone ever works for me, I don't want them to work for me forever. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I'm going to always encourage you to get your own, what I'm saying? Because that's what it's about. There'll always be an opening for, someone looking for a job. So I'll never be without an employee. But, one thing I can say is I want to encourage people to create their own businesses, if that is what you want to do. Then also, building for future generations. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. And then just being able to express your own creativity. When I opened my salon and my boutique, it was fabulous. I was able to, I opened a salon, boutique, and a design studio. It was all in the same building. So I had this big area where I could create my designs, because I have a clothing line called Royal Highness Collection. And I make pieces. I make clothing. I'm a designer, a fashion designer. And then I also, had my salon in there. So I had the salon services. We did nails, you know, acrylic nails and things like that, designs and all of that. And then we did the hair, and then I had the boutique. The boutique where I had all the clothing, purses, clothes, shoes, jewelry, but being able to design everything. Because I remember working at Sears, or was it Mervyn's? It was Sears. And I remember working at Sears. I worked in the jewelry department at one point in time, but then I also worked on the floor. And I remember I used to have all these ideas on how they should arrange things. And I had all these ideas on how they should dress the dummies, and, you know, and the mannequins and things. But I was never able to create my own vision, because they had their protocol, they had their rules, they had their regulations, and I had to go by them. And that used to be so frustrating for me. Plus, I have a condition that they call excessive compulsive behavior, where things have to be a certain way. You know, this has to be a certain way. Everything needs to be color coordinated. You know, it's like everything needs to be color coordinated. Kind of like my glasses and my shirt, you know, it's like they go together, you know. So it's like I've always had this about myself. Like things have to look a certain way or else it'll drive me crazy. And I never knew why I had it like that. And I remember my first husband, my vanity area at our house, I used to have my vanity area, my vanity table would have all of my perfumes and, colognes and, makeup or, just whatever I had up there, but it will be designed in a certain way. And, it'll come together in a certain way that it just looked fabulous. Everything was color coordinated, and it looked really nice when you walk into the room. He used to get on my nerves because he knew that I had this excessive compulsive behavior. And so what he would do is he would come in there and say, for instance, I had my bottle of poison perfume and my, another bottle, because I would keep all the purples together, bottles. And then sometimes I would mix the pinks with the little red bottles, so I would mix them up. And he would take a pink bottle and put it with the purple bottle and he would mix it up a little bit. So when I come in there, it's like it would drive me crazy. So, and I didn't know what that was all about until I opened my first salon. Actually, I opened my first store because I opened a boutique before I opened the salon and boutique and design studio together. So my first store that I opened, I realized why the universe had gave me that excessive compulsive behavior. Because when you're running a store with merchandise, it's not about what you have. It's how you display it that makes people attracted to it and make people want to buy it, and I learned that. I didn't really even have to learn that because that was also already a gift that the universe had given me to be able to arrange things and put things to where people would want to buy them, and I could make something that was worth $5 look like it was worth like $30 just by how I arranged it. And what I put around it and how I made it sparkle and stand out. And so, and when customers would come into the store, of course, they're picking things up and putting them in the wrong place, and they're doing this and they're kind of moving things around. So after the customers leave the store, you have to have the ability to, get back in there and put everything back perfectly. Everything has to be arranged a certain way. Things need to be color coordinated. Everything needs to have a flow. And so, then I realized that is why I have this obsessive compulsive behavior, because the universe knew later on down the line that I would be opening businesses and that I would need this, in order to not get frustrated, because it's nothing like, it's just like if you clean your house up and it's really neat and really just, shining and everything's just gleaming, and then somebody comes and walks across your floor with, muddy shoes on, or, come and fix a meal and then leave dishes all in the sink. That's kind of frustrating. You're like, did you not just see that everything was clean? But when you have a business, a store, where you're selling merchandise, you can't say that to customers. Customers can pick up things and leave them where they want to. You can't be like, can you put that where you found it? No, you need to put that back where they found it. And so it was something I never got tired of, because as soon as all the customers would leave my store, I had opened up my first boutique inside of a mall, and I had, the purses, clothes, shoes, jewelry, just everything. And, I had to keep that organized as customers would come in and out, and I need to know. And when I did that, it allowed me to see, my merchandise and inventory and know if something was missing, versus, because everything, I know if you moved a penny, I know if you moved a speck of dust, I know, because I know how I am so nitpicky about things being arranged. And so instantly I can see if something's out of sort. And so it gave me an opportunity to create and, express my creativity. And it was the most amazing thing. And I was so proud of my salon and boutique. I was so proud of my salon and boutique and my design studio. I mean, and when people would come in, they were like, oh my God, this is so nice. And I would be like, really? Because that's just what I do. And it's like, I have this knack for that. And it just so happened that everyone loved it, and I thank the universe for that, because you never want to create a business and people ain't feeling it. So, yeah, that was really gratifying for me to be able to be creative, to hear people express their appreciation for the environment I created for them to come and get their hair done and to shop for clothing. And it was just amazing just to be able to see myself, work, because when I first opened the store, I had never opened a store before. I didn't know anything about it. I had seen my mom do it, but I had a natural knack for it. And so, and it's so funny because I'm relocating to North Sac. I'll be reopening my salon in North Sacramento. As before, it was in South Sacramento for years. And so, it's like, I have now that I've done, I've had the experience in all of this. It's like now I know what to do. I know what to do, and it's really going to be like something big this time. I have some new ideas that I'm going to incorporate into this new location, and I just want to it's going to be the best I've done so far. But yeah, just saying all that to say is that I know it's in our DNA, or shall I say our parents raise us to think, okay, we got to go from first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, up until the 12th. Then we go to college. Then we go work in someone's establishment. That's not the route. I can say even if you do work in someone else's establishment, be making sure that you're taking some of that money to create your own business. Because if you plan on having children, your children are going to need somewhere to go, something to own, something to depend on when they get of age to be able to be employed. You don't want them to have to go knocking on other people's doors. Asian people's family members and children don't have to do that. Mexicans, a lot of them, don't have to do that, depending on the mindset of the elders in the family. Because you got Mexicans and Asians that's working in grocery stores, and it's not family-owned businesses, but it's very far and in between, far few and in between. And if they do not have a family member that owns a business, their family member knows somebody that owns a business that they can say, hey, you could go work for a friend of ours, or an associate, something like that. It's like they have people that they can go to, that are not strangers, where their creativity will be respected, and they will have options to be promoted or to grow in the business, because of the Asians and the Mexicans, they stick together and they build together, so this is just a topic I wanted to brush over, because we teach our children to go through the steps of first grade, second grade, third grade, 12th grade, college, and then, oh, I want you to be a doctor, oh, I want you to be a nurse, oh, I want you to be this, but no one ever is really saying, I want you to open your own business. I need for you to know that you need to have your own business, just like you see Safeway and Walmart. These are people that created businesses and job opportunities for others. We need to be those people, because these people are no different than us. You can open up a business and be just as successful and global as anyone else. So just keep that in mind when you're growing and you're going throughout your life and your journey. That you were not meant and made to just work for people. It was a grand design. I mean, the universe will let you know what it is you need to do. It's not meant for everyone. Everyone doesn't want to own a business. Some people don't want to have the responsibility of owning a business. They want to just get, their money, their pension, their retirement, and, they want to follow the script, the Americanized script of what we're supposed to do. And I just say, if you can break free of that and create your own, it will be so gratifying. It will be such a beautiful experience, and it will empower your children and those watching you to do the same. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this video and, leave this right here. And for anyone who got anything out of it, if you like the video, go ahead and like and comment below. And just for daily notifications for all of the videos that I will be posting, go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell. That way you will be notified of every video that I do. And I normally don't tell people to like the video or subscribe. And I don't know why I don't do that, because most videos on YouTube, you see they have the like button and subscribe. And I'm about to decorate things, and I'm about to get my thumbnails together and all that. But I really need to start telling people, please subscribe to my video. Subscribe and let me know what it is that you would like to talk about. Subscribe, like, comment, and give me your input on things that discussions that I may have. I have like almost close to like 60 something videos up now, and it's just only going to get better with time. I remember when I first started doing these videos, my camera equipment was crappy, and it still is crappy. I'm still searching for the best lighting. Because I have other obligations, and as I said before, I wasn't able to go and spend $700 to $1,000 on camera equipment and things like that. We got other things that take priority, as far as business and other obligations. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out this video, and I hope I was able to feed somebody some food and some jewels that you can put into your treasure chest and, be able to grow from it. Again, my name is Royalty, and this is Crowned Real Talk 101. I'll see you in a bit, family.